Hello again. So we finished up on understanding that when the object collides with something, we need to define what is this something. Either that a ceiling, or a wall, or a floor, and this is what we are gonna do now. But before that, I probably need to a little bit explain how we're gonna do that. So, as I mentioned before, we have three dimensions. So we have x, y, and z axis, and direction of the object can be any combination of these three axes. So it could be something like this, or something like that, or something looking more toward the player going to us, or whatever. Of course, when looking on it from top down, so from here down here, right? And depending on this vector, let's for simplicity look at 2D vector. So something like that. Okay, I'll just scrap it over, start it over. Let's look at 2D plane instead of 3-dimension, and then the same approach can be extended into 3-dimension instead of 2 dimensions. So let's say we get x and y axis, and we got our direction vector looking something like this. I'm gonna add a new layer for it. So this is where object, how object going, and we might have one of a few cases. So case number one is we're colliding the wall, and let's make the wall, and let's set the color to be something like this. So this is the wall, and if you remember, we not checking the position of the object every step, we're checking it every few steps. So it could be that at some point object was here, and after that object is here. So for us, looking at the picture, it's obvious that we collided with the wall, but for the game, it just knows that it collided with something. And whether it's this wall, or whether it's something like that, ceiling like that, or both together, this is what we need to find out. So in order to find this out, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this point before the current point. So actually, at this step, we're gonna check if we can go further. If we can't, we're still here, right? But we know that we tried to go there. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna make a projection to both of this axes on x and y axis, and check if there is something here, and if there is something in here. If there is something in here, means we collided with the wall. If there is something in here, means we collided with the ceiling. So if there are both, we collided with wall and the ceiling, we can consider we collided with the angle. And hence we don't bounce, we just fall straight back, right? If we collided, now let's look at each case individually. So let's say we collided with the wall. What's gonna happen next? From here, we're gonna just bounce back. So we're gonna keep the same angle, we're just gonna invert the x-axis direction, so it will look like it bounced. Of course, the z gravitation will change it, so it will be something like this, and overall movement will be something like this, right? In case of colliding with a ceiling, it will look like this. So this is the ceiling. We just invert the z axis, or y-axis in our case, direction. So it will be the same. Again, we are gonna maintain this angle, but we're gonna just change the direction. So this object, it will not continue linear, of course. It will slowly fall down because we decrease the gravity affects our object, and it go more like a parabolic trajectory. But this is what we're gonna do now, right? In case of colliding with both wall and a ceiling, we're gonna just fall straight down, or just reverse both of these angles. I haven't decided yet. I think more physically correct that it will. In real world, it's probably impossible to hit two walls and a ceiling simultaneously, so simultaneously that it will bounce back exactly the same trajectory it came from. But we can do it considering this is a game, or we can just fall straight back, like this wall and the ceiling consume the whole energy of the object, and it just falls straight down. So I think it will be more realistic in our scenario, or better for the game. So yeah, if we say we hit something here and here, we just fall straight down, right? Or if we didn't hit this or this, that means we hit the block right here on the corner. So we can consider that this is hit in straight right into the corner, and we can bounce back in this case. But I believe this will be a quite rare occasion, so we can consider it's the same case as falling just straight down. And it's worth mentioning that as I said before, we're not checking every step, right? And sometimes if speed of the object is too high, it might not be checked on every ceiling. So we need to calculate the collision check-in interval so it will not go through the whole block. So I'll try to explain. So my world, if you look into the game, let me just launch it. It consists of blocks, very much like Minecraft. It's just not three-dimensional blocks, it's layers. But they are structurally they're the same as the Minecraft. So if we look into this object can be represented, this image can be represented as a grid of blocks. Some of them have something in them, some of them don't. So like so. Give me a minute. Alright, so it's the grid of layers. They're not exactly cubical like in Minecraft, but the idea is the same. So the object goes like this, and let's assume that we get here is a solid block and here is the solid, here is not. Obviously we hit ceiling, right? So the important bit here is that we can check object here, right? The first step. And then we set the interval of check to be too high, and it means it check not in 12 frames or 24 frames, for instance. And the speed of the object is so high that the next check will be here. And as in previous example, this block is solid. In this case, game will say this one is clear, right? There's nothing here, there's nothing in here, and it's perfectly fine for the object to keep going the same trajectory it used to be. But it's not, really it's not, because there is a block that will not allow object to pass. So this is, I believe, a common problem in game development when objects that are too quick, they are going through solid objects, through the thin walls and stuff like that. So there are few ways this can be fixed. So first one is to set the check interval to be every frame, for instance, right? And then it almost guarantees that it will be checked here, 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 you know, and it will be bounced here and go down and stuff like that. But first of all, that requires too much of a computing power, especially if we're talking about many objects that we calculate in every step. And the second, that means that doesn't guarantee that this occasion will not happen, because if the object speed is still too higher, so this speed is higher than this distance, right? Length here, per frame, speed per frame, I mean, of course, then it will still happen. The same situation happened, and I did show the previous Tanix game, so I experienced that back then, so I defined a new algorithm there. So bullets projection in the previous game was calculated using the method I will explain now, because when we're talking about bullets and finding collision in a shooting game, it's very important that bullets do not go through walls unless it is intended, right? So the approach there was to, if we, let's say, we know that the height of this object, of this block, let's say it's 16 by 16 pixel, let's consider it's a square, right? So that means that the shortest it can go through this block is either straight vertical or straight horizontal. And if speed is less than 16, we are covered, right? Of course, it can be also this case, right? When we hit a very, very corner of an object, and we also want to collide here. So 16 is not enough. So how would you, what would you do in this case? So what you can do is, let's say your first check step is somewhere here, and the second one is here, on the exactly on the next frame. So it cannot be, you cannot check it here, because the game only gives you a possibility of checking here and then here. So what you do first is you know that distance, that it's probably, I don't know, 16 pixels or 18 pixels the speed of your projectile. So you start instead of checking your position right here, you do little checks. So on next frame you calculate all these dots, and on each of them you check whether you colliding with object or not. So it is extremely computing demanding. So it takes a lot of performance of the game to do so. Hence it has to be done either, if you can do it on GPU, which can do multiple things in parallel, of course, you can perfectly fine do that. Or you can do that still in all the way on CPU, but in this case you have to only apply this behavior to very few objects that are absolutely necessary to have this behavior, like player bullets, right? Because you don't want player to hit and then not hit the necessary target, or bullet go through the wall and stuff like that. So you cannot do it for every object in your game, right? So I think in our case, even if the part of the corpse go through the wall or land somewhere, it's purely decorational, right? And if the arm get through the wall and landed in the house, I'm fine with it, to be honest, at least for this type of objects. So here we're gonna do something very simple, right? We have the trajectory, and I already tell what we're gonna do, right? We're gonna check this one, and this collide. That will tell us about whether it's a collision of the wall or it's a collision of the ceiling, and we're gonna work from there, right? Okay, so with this method, this is the level. It's basically the structure of the current level, and we're getting collision at coordinates x, y, and z. What it does under the hood, it converts coordinates to grid coordinates. So, and it will check what is the whole collision of this whole block, right? And in reality, could be it's just a part of a block, or even this part is colliding. And in normal circumstances, the object should go through if it's just this little piece. But in our case, we don't really care. We say if there is anything here other than complete emptiness, we can consider this as a whole solid block and then bounce from it, right? For our purposes, that will be more than enough. So we say collision coordinates are found here, and now we need to, it's not, that means this is not completely empty. It means there is a collision there, right? Actually, yeah, the undefined collision means there are no block there at all. So when I create the level, I didn't place anything there, or if somebody else made the level, he didn't place anything there. And this means that a collision is not empty. Okay, so I'm gonna talk less now and focus on implementing the solution, and when I have something to talk about, I will obviously. All right, so okay, we actually do need to store coordinates of the previous step, right? And by default, GameMaker has X previous and Y previous as built-in variables, but we do not have that for the Z axis. So I wonder, where should we record the Z previous? And in the perfect world, we should actually, is there a depth previous? Let me just quickly Google it. Just so you see what I'm doing. On, yeah. doesn't look so, no? No, unfortunately we don't, so we cannot use the engine capability for doing that, so we have to store the z previous coordinate ourselves. And normally we should do it in, I believe, end step event. I'm not quite sure where the at which point the game maker, so that the engine increments the x and y based on speed. Actually, it probably could be explained here. Gravity. I can't use gravity here really. Maybe in X. And does no. Obviously, there's no such a simple explanation. We can do two things. We can consider incrementing on the end step event, or just after the process collision, and see how it goes. Or we can create a test object and do test, but checking this will either way be the test itself, so I think we can just do that. So we say that at the end of this process collision, right, we did return. Do we want to store it here? Yeah, probably. So z previous, if I would name this variable myself, I would call it like this, z previous camel case, but since we want to inherit the game maker behavior in this specific case, I'm gonna follow the notation of the game maker here. And let's make it like this, equals z, and no, something doesn't look quite right. And actually, yeah, so we're not only gonna process collision here, we are gonna process the whole position, including decrementing z based on the gravity, right? So it's not process collision, it's process position. Let's call it like that now, and similarly change it to the process position here. So we set the interval, and this needs to be, no, actually we can do it here, because right after we're gonna manipulate the gravity. So since we know the check interval, we can calculate by how many increments of the z happened since the moment we checked it last. So and we cannot even have use x previous and y previous unless we use a step event, because we are x previous and y previous to keep position of a previous step, but this function will need coordinates x and y of previous call of this function, which happened on not on the last step, but in our case 12 steps ago, right? So I have two ways to solve it now. So first, I just turn it into step event entirely, and it will be hit on performance, but I don't need to worry about a lot of small things. Or I can create actual my whole z previous coordinate, right? Why I cannot change it? I can't change anything. What's going on? Okay, got it. Wrong language. Is it? Yeah. So z previous equals c, x previous x equals x, and y equals y. Okay. So we're gonna store it first, right? Or do we? No, those needs to be stored at the very end. And I cannot do early exit here. So the reason I make such a expression here is not to wrap this whole thing inside of if. So if you can place condition at the very beginning of a function, that will decide either this function needs to be executed as a whole or not. You can do it like so. You just place this condition at the very beginning, do return, and ignore it completely after that. Because otherwise, I would need to, do something like that. And if I have more ifs, I'll go deeper, or I need to break it into functions. But I guess in this case, I have to revert the logic. So if not collide in the ground, or if structure changes, in this case, we're gonna execute it, right? And only after that, we're gonna set the z coordinate here, right? Because x and y will be incremented throughout this whole thing, and I cannot, it's hard to explain. I forgot actually why, but I had a strong reason to do so. Okay, so now we say we're gonna do this only if one of these two conditions is truth, right? Yeah. I hope the noise level does not influence you. Sorry, I cannot change it. Yeah. So what are we gonna do next? The z coordinate didn't change because there's nothing changes it automatically. So first thing first, we need to set z to be what it should be past the number of steps here. So we're gonna say z equals z plus equals multiplied by global z gravity. So that's gonna compensate the fact that we only check it every that much steps. I hope it will not look low FPS type of thing, because if it does, at the end we'll still have to go into step or decrease it so much that it's almost undistinguishable from step. Well, I hope that's not going to be the case. Maybe I should do some test first to see how it looks before I continue to complete in this function altogether. And if it looks good, then I can continue on the function, right? So For now we can ignore that. And we can ignore that. Okay. I think I already did the thing where the object, yeah, we create all necessary objects. Okay, so we just create test level, we place player there, spawn some zombies, shoot and see if they break any pieces properly as I coded it or not, and if it's not too steppy when it goes down, I can continue with this approach. Or if I, for instance, decrease, if it's too steppy, but I can decrease the amount to be 6 frames per calculation, and it start looking fine, I can deal with it. If it still looks like a joggy, I have to turn it into a step event and check and process it every step of the game. Okay, so make a new level. Cool. And alright, place an object, place spawner here. I'm gonna save it actually. Okay, I need to make a preview, save, test, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna do that quite a few times, so I need to save it. I don't want to recreate it every time again. Okay, we did this. Why are you guys not falling down? So it breaks in pieces fine, but it just flies away infinitely. And it should. I mean, it should still go infinitely, but it should. Oh yeah, okay. So yes, when you do something with x plus something in a game maker itself, it will work, because this is how game process it. It's not normal variables, it's system variables, and the engine does a lot of tricks under the hood to actually reflect the change of x and y if you change them. But z is just a absolute arbitrary variable for the engine, so when I change it, nothing happens. And of course, instead of just changing the z variable, I need to do it like self set z. Again, I cannot type, and I have no idea what's going on there. Strange, I can type everywhere else. Okay, I'm gonna restart Game Maker and see if that's gonna help. Alright, so I'm gonna do... Huh? Why can't I type? I have no idea what's going on here. I'm gonna type... Oh yeah, okay, right. So look at this. You see this lines? I'm in the children of the gravitational object, and that's a parent event. I obviously cannot change anything. And this indication is supposed to tell me that it's only for the viewing purposes, not for editing. But it doesn't. If I want to change anything, I have to be here. So instead of just modifying z, I have to do it like self set z, and here new z is going to be z plus, and it's construction, right? So that's also going to change the shadow if there is a shadow, and layers if there are layers, and stuff like that. So let's see what we got here. Now I expect objects just, falling through the ground and falling infinitely, but that's alright. At least we will have it's still above, though quite funny, right? Let me spawn a few more zombies. No, the speed is definitely too high, and they aren't falling through. Why? Okay, let me check it. Okay, so that's the first tick. And our previous z position used to be 2, 2, 2. And our new z is gonna be, yeah, it's supposed to be correct. No wait, gravity is 0.2, get 12. 12 by 2.4. Yeah, that's right. Okay, there could be a still small chance that it's not falling quick enough and I cannot reach, which I don't think is the case, but to be clear, okay. No. I thought it's going the opposite way, right? You know, going up, but it doesn't change it at all. Like at all. And but why? Is it like set z? Am I not changing the depth here? So if I want object to go through, I actually have to change built-in variable called depth. But something happened. Something really interesting happening here. Okay, so we are on that step. We go inside. Okay, so depth here. Minus 225, right? So the next time this value is supposed to change. Okay, for simplicity, let's only make one piece because now it's gonna create 10 of them, and I don't want to iterate through all 10 to get to the next step. All right. So we get our zombie. We shoot the zombie. Okay, just head. That's how it's supposed to be. So first, we got depth minus 2 to 6. Okay. Now, the next one, we're gonna go inside, and depth is minus 2 to 5, which is right. And then we go down minus 2 to 4. And what's our z? So it does 1 pixel at the time. Yeah, kind of. Okay, let's. No, that's not right, because the player is affected by the same exactly the same gravity. So if I jump, right, if that would happen to the player, what would happen? He would be also flying above the surface without touching it. And I use exactly the same gravity value. Actually, do I? Does it still work fine after all changes to global variables I have implemented? Okay, so if I jump, yeah, so see how quickly the gravity kicks in. Am I calculating it right? So we got zombie. No, we got gravitational object. And what is this quantity? It's this one is minus 0.02 and this is going to be 2, so it's going to be 0.4 per each, or 0.2 per each step, which means that 60 frames a second, it's supposed to be almost 32 frames, right? Or 30 pixels. So yeah, it should fall down quite fast, but it doesn't. I don't understand. Of course we will figure this out, but so strange. It almost feels like it, you know, going up and down. Okay, actually it actually did, so it's supposed to. So it did get through, right? Eventually. So why is it falling so slowly? So that will always go into the condition, and that will happen every 2 steps, right? And okay, fine. You know what? No. What's the zombie height? 120. So the height of the our layer is. Let me find it. Is 6, right? So 6 pixels, which means if we have 32 pixels, 30 pixels a second, we should get through it in like 4 seconds. Why is zombie so high? We have 6 pixels, and it should be like zombie shouldn't be that high. It should be like 60-ish pixels high. Again, it's not representative to actual height or whatever. It's just it doesn't represent the real sprite. It's something else. 4, 5, 6 seconds. And we're supposed to but that's still not quite right. Oh yeah, of course. So z gravity is not the speed, right? It's not velocity of the object. It's acceleration. So this is for how much every step the speed should be incremented, right? So instead of adding this is acceleration. We need to have, and we do have the depth speed here. So we should say z equals depth speed multiplied by it's way more complicated. So it's more. I need to calculate the overall. So it's Let's say we got 10 seconds interval, the collision check. So on the first second, we should decrease 0.2. On the next 0.4, then 0.3, 6, 0.8, 1 pixel, and so on. So the resultant depth speed should and each of this total speeds should be decreased on each step. So on first step I need to 1.2. Let's say that the depth speed is -1 already, so on the first step minus 1.2, on second minus 1.4, then minus 1.6, and we need to calculate this whole progression here in one step. I really think, okay, we can go into math and I can spend time on it, or I can just go step event and forget about it. Yeah. On one hand, I want to turn into step event because it's simple. On the other hand, it will be less performant, and it means I gave up on difficulty. Though it's not that difficult, especially if you solved a lot of maths. So, okay. Let me visualize it. It probably will work better for me this way. We got this, then next we got this, then this, then this. So I'm not sure how it's called in English. I think it's arithmetic progression. So I need to calculate this thing, and there is some constant speed, right? So the green thing is representing the speed. So by the way, this is the columns are actual steps. So this is a speed, it's constant, and it used to be constant from previous step because we didn't increment at every step. And this thing is our acceleration. So we need to calculate this whole thing for last n of this steps, depending on the value we selected here, and add it to our z coordinate, right? Of course, this is going to be negative, and at some point this will turn negative. Okay. So this is almost like a half of the square, right? So if we have 4 steps, so it's 4/4 divided by 2. So how many? Not exactly, but exactly would be like this. But we have also this little bit here. So if we get 16 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10. It's supposed to be 8, so it's plus 2. Right? Yeah, exactly. 4 halves. And if it's gonna be 3/3, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. So it's 9. 3/3, 9, and we have 6. So it's supposed to be 4.5, and it's 1.5 again. Exactly. So the formula will be n multiplied by n, right? So that's gonna get this full divided by 2, so it gives us exactly the half, plus we need to add a count of this halves of the number, and their amount will be exactly the n divided by 2. Sorry, it will be exactly n. So this all will be multiplied by our acceleration, a, plus n a divided by 2. So that should be it, right? To get this triangle calculated, let's make another visualization just to prove it. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, right? 15. And out of 25, so let's say 5 by 5, 25 by 2, 12.5, right? We only forget about a now. It's not as important for us to prove the theory. So 12.5 plus 5 divided by 2, 2.5, which is 15, which is what we want exactly. So that is amount of dots, right? And multiplied it, this part by a and this part by a. So it's actually n by n plus 1, right? Can we, it's like, didn't get it. Anyway, I'm gonna use this formula. If that looks absolutely stupid in 3rd grade, I'm fine with that, and as long as it works. So we calculated this bit here. Now we're gonna calculate the velocity. It's simple. It's gonna be just v multiplied by n, and it gives us the how much changed since the last step. Okay, so let's do it. So this is our n. We're gonna multiply it by itself. It's gonna be n by n by global z gravity. So that is that part, and of course it all divided by 2, or it can be just to make sure we follow in the formula. I'm gonna add brackets here. So of course equals and plus this thing divided by 2, right? And like so. So that's red triangle plus depth speed multiplied by, oh, I should have make this variable, I should have called it shorter. Okay, var n equals let's make it this way, but no, I don't like n. Count steps. It's either getting too long or not representative of what it is. I don't care about representation at this point. I just want it to be shorter. Like this. Okay. And the difference in all that plus depth speed multiplied by this amount here. Okay. I think now yeah, we calculated the whole difference, and now the last step we need to add not this but only this 4, right? Because we it's how much it changed, so it's n by the gravity value. All right, so if I'm right, that's gonna fall with about right speed, similar to the player. um, uh, didn't get it. Why I have two of this? It should be only one, shouldn't it? What is this even? So plus, we counted this. Is this right? So that's a triangle. Triangle plus this, which is a speed multiplied by count. That is correct. What was? I don't understand what was there previously. Okay. Now it should fall. Not quite, isn't it? Of course. Plus, yeah, maths. Oh yeah, it looks much better, right? Ah, complete the level. So, in the game, since I didn't place any victims here, it spawns exit just next to me because there is no goals left to complete. Okay, so if I exit, done. Okay, that looks promising, and I'm gonna try with multiple objects. Did I set the depth speed actually? I think I did, right? Set speed. Yeah, depth speed. Did I actually define it here? Oh no, I didn't define it here, but I already set in it here. So I'm gonna get rid of it here, and I'm gonna add it here. I hope I will not regret it. Okay, so now the objects should we should get a bunch of objects flying away and falling down properly from each zombie. Yeah, that's right in terms of quantity of the object and the physics, but I think you saw what I saw too. It's little jugging. And what's funnier though is this it's like two steps. Like two steps per frame, and it's already looking like it's like it goes in steps, goes not smoothly falling down. And if you remember, it's supposed to be 12. Either that, or I just didn't count it right. But my guess, it's just because the frame 60 frames versus 30 frames makes it so different. Oh boy, that's terrible. Look, it's just no. I'm glad that I didn't rely on that too much. I still sad that I wasted all this time for all this math. Though it was funny brain exercise, but it was completely useless. Because even with the smallest step interval of 2 steps, it doesn't look great. Just to confirm that it will work, that it's not something else and it's just a difference in the frame rate, I'm gonna run it like it runs every step and see what's gonna change. Yeah, you see how smooth it is, like just falling down. Bam, bam. I wonder what's gonna change if I said I wanna change this value from 0.5 to 3. First of all, I don't like how grouped it all is, right? Yeah. And I probably can't oh boy. Yeah, that's kind of better. I don't know. What do you think? I know that nobody's watching it now, but actually, am I live? I am. Okay, cool. So, yeah, sorry if there was anybody there and talked to me about something and I didn't reply. I honestly forgot that I'm not only recording the video but also streaming. Okay, so let's see how it looks from the distance. Does it look good? I think it would be nice if the direction of the bullet would influence the corpses, so it feels like impact happens. So let's say we got an object and a projectile hits here. Obviously, it gets some impulse with it, right? Probably not the water gun that I'm using right now, but bazooka for sure, right? So if it's exploded, it doesn't explode exactly in the middle of a zombie, so all the parts are going away equally, right? And it's in completely random direction. It explodes, like if it explodes on the right from a zombie, so this is the zombie, this is the explosion, right? You see it well. Okay, it explodes. The parts will not go this direction. Obviously, all parts will go, most of parts will go here and some parts will go there, right? Some random parts can rarely go in this direction, counter the explosion, but most of them, it should be like a jet, they should go that direction. And I'm gonna try to make something like that now and see if it looks any better. Okay, so I have the following thing. I have a collision with player projectile, right? With I'm setting the state of self to dying, but I can also set the variable. I can okay, since we're doing it temporarily, impact direction equals 0 for now, and we're gonna say that. Okay, again, that's not the parent event, so I cannot change it there. What was it? What was the event that we modified before? Did I just override it? Oh no, that's object enemy. I don't know why it's still showing me like it's a zombie, but to be sure, I'm gonna close it all. Get zombie. Go to the parent, edit the parent event. Now open project. I don't understand. I thought I opened the parent event. Obviously I didn't. What's going on? Oh, I see what's going on. I have the second window that opened up automatically after I restarted it. Okay, so we got our enemy. And yes, I defined the variable in the zombie, and I want to do it higher in the hierarchy. And where is that defined? So that's a 3D billboard. Yeah, I want to inherit this event here. So impact direction equals 0, or I can just make a variable and I don't need to override the event anymore. So I'm gonna add another variable. Okay, and when something hits our enemy, we're gonna say that our impact Genshin impact direction is gonna be other direction, right? So that's the direction of the bullet that hit the object. And now in our zombie code, in our dying state, explode pieces, the strength. Now I can set this, actually I'm gonna set the impact direction as the first parameter. And the second will be strength, because strength is optional parameter, so it should be the last, and impact direction will be the first. And now, when I calculate this direction, I want to make it in some cone, let's say. Well, let's see how it looks in a cone, right? So direction plus from minus, what would be the cone? Probably 70 degrees, right? To just 70 degrees. And now it should go in that jet type of thing, right? Yeah, you see it's coming from me. It never goes on the left. It always goes to the right. Yeah. But now the speed variance looks too big to me, to be honest. Probably the vertical speed can be different, right? Because, you know, the head was above and it can go higher when the body was not that high. So actually, yeah, we can even try negative values. So from -1 to 1, because parts can go down and up if the explosion is somewhere in the middle. But the speed of the corpse is definitely, yeah, shouldn't be from almost staying in place to going all the way to the right. Not, at least not from the water gun. Okay, that is fine by me. To be honest, I can keep it as is, and I don't need to process any collision. It just, you know, falls through, and that's all right. And I can just set a timer so it disappears and doesn't overflow the memory. Probably that's what I'm gonna do. But my worry is that after all this time I spent on it, it's not looking better than the default animation. You got me? So there's one last thing that I haven't done yet, and I didn't add an explosion to it. And I have a bazooka explosion, and here's the code for bazooka explosion. And yeah, this is the code for how it removes the cells. It doesn't remove them all in one step, just split into multiple steps. But where do I create the explosion? Oh, visual explosion. Okay, where do I create it? So this is probably what I need. Okay, yeah, I created here. Is it just one? Okay, I created here too. And if the explosion is not functional, it's just visual, I can just use it. Okay, it's not even called bazooka explosion, so I'm fine with that. So here I'm gonna get this visual explosion, and I'm gonna get the smallest size, this one, and I'm gonna copy this whole thing together, get the zombie, and when zombie dies, I'm gonna create explosion on the place where zombie died. Alright, so that's gonna give some randomness which I probably don't want to have, right? And here's z plus, okay, maybe a little randomness on. No, actually, since z is always the legs, so I need both values to be positive. So if the height is, yeah, it's probably needs to be like 20 to 30, something like that. Okay, so now, if I did everything right, zombie should explode with some boom effect on it. Okay. Does it feel like this explosion animation is too quick? 30, 30, 30. Oh, that one is 20 frames per second, so that's what I'm gonna stick to. So I probably forgot to change it for the rest. It's like almost too smooth for the game, which doesn't have that high frame rate overall. By the way, explosion is also purchased. So now it's the speed of animation looks fine, but the duration, it stays on the place for too long, right? And it's almost like you want it to either disappear quicker or to fall down with pieces or split into smaller explosions. Okay, one more thing. Let me try making it larger first of all, like this. I think it's too much, right? Is that too much? And it's probably too high. I shouldn't get it that high. 10 to 16. Well, at least not for that version, not for 64 by 64 version of the explosion. Yeah, that's the positioning wise. It's way better now. Almost. Is it? I think it is, yeah. Bam. Oh, I forgot. So, my game consists of two types of objects. First, they are like a flat. So, the surface is flat, right? You see it. And the objects are flat, so... But the other type of objects, they are like a billboard. And they are almost orthogonal, almost 90 degrees to the surface, to the ground. And the player, zombie, and explosion are those type of objects. That means that for those billboards, what's important that z coordinate and image origin is always at the ground, because this is how a collision system works. So I think I forgot, but it's also in the ground. Yes. So if the origin of this explosion matches the origin of the zombie, so I don't need to lift it up at all. Like this one 64 by 64 and zombie is 70, so no lifting here. Maybe, you know, very slight variation, like from 2 to, you know, 4, and that's to be honest, that's not even needed. Nobody will ever notice it, but this is exactly what I need. I mean, this is how it should be. Yes, so now it's exactly where it should be, this explosion. And what about the other ones? Okay, so the other ones are also there, but for smaller version you do need to explode, because I just demonstrate how it looks for 32 version of it. I probably end up using 48 version of the explosion, 48 pixels high. But you see, it explodes at legs, because the origin of the image and the zombie is the same point. So yeah, it's obvious why it is like that. So you need a little compensation if you want to use a different version of it. So let's see how it looks with 48. Probably it does need. I need to lift it a little bit up, half of a difference between the two. But let me see first. Yeah, it's too low. Probably gonna stick with that. 64 minus 48 is 16 by 2 plus 8, and now it's gonna be, well, in the middle. considering the height of the zombie is 64. It's not, so it's not 100% in the middle, but who cares? Though explosion. You know, should they explode? Actually, I do have sounds here, so sorry if it's too loud for you. I'm gonna decrease it a little bit. I hope you can hear me behind all that. Oh, you don't hear it at all. Okay, now you should hear sounds. Do you? I don't see you hearing anything at all. Okay, you should hear it now. Yeah? Maybe a little bit more quiet. Okay, like so. Oh, it's too loud. So explosion sound now matches the visuals, but not quite sure that this is how it should be. I mean, does it look better if I just added the explosion to the original sprite? Wouldn't it be even better? I mean, probably that's because I did not calculate the collision. Alright? So if it would stay on the ground, it would look better. So what can I do to prove it wrong or right? So the main thing is I can just make a simple version of a collision where I don't really calculate the wall collision, ceiling collision, and just do a simple floor collision, right? So considering if so I only process something if it collides with, yeah, so in case where the z speed is positive, so it's flying up, I ignore collision at all, right? And when it hits something, anything, I mean, I just stop it right there, or probably in the previous position. And that something means it can be floor, it can be a wall, and if it's a wall, it will just stick on a wall, which which is probably even better. Let me see how it looks. Oh, first of all, I need to get rid of this alarm, and I need to turn it into a step event. So self process position, right? Now I don't need all this junk anymore because it's always going to be. I just need to depth speed plus equals the gravity, right? At the beginning we added the acceleration point to the speed, and z equals plus equals the speed, right? So on each step we change the depth a little bit, and we change z coordinate to that depth to the new speed. Okay, so of course we do it this way, and we need to do we need to do self set speed, and first it's going to be speed because the XY plane speed doesn't change, but this one does, and that's going to be that. So we affect the shadow as well. Now z equals set z like this, so it shouldn't break anything. Let me check it before I get any deeper with implementation. Okay, yeah, that looks right. Probably I wanted to go higher. I want it to go higher. So minus, yeah, so that's why some of them are going too high up. Random range 2, right? From 0, I think I'm gonna set it from strength. No, 0 multiplied by this. Okay, so now they do more like a fountain, right? Fountain, is that the word? Bam. One more. And I want explosion to also probably go to the right, do I? Let me change something. I want to spawn. I want zombies to spawn quicker. By the way, if you want to try it all yourself, I mean the level editor, and play with zombies and place the level, by the time you're watching this video, it's probably already approved in Steam. So there's a free demo you can try. Just look at the link below this video, and yeah, you should play with it. Okay, I actually do like these corpses. I actually do like these pieces. I wonder if that's gonna change my game age restriction in Steam if I explode it to pieces. There is a, if you haven't done the Steam approval process, there's a whole like a quiz or a form you fill in, and it has like violence, cartoon violence, stuff like that. So I think my current grade might be below that, but I doubt. It's zombies at the end, and there's probably already something, I think checked something like that, like cartoon violence. There's no blood, there is no like eyes or guts falling out, but still, that might change it. I need to review that again. But alright, I have the gravitational object, and now I'm gonna say, so first of all, everything works fine, I'm happy with it. If collision, since I do check it every step now, there's a very, very rare chance that it goes, you know, all the way through. And even looking at the speed that I set, the variance of a speed from, you know, from lowest to highest values, it's definitely never gonna cross this parameter. So I'm not gonna implement any retracting logic on coordinates, so it like goes back to see exactly perfect position where the collision hits, because this is an overkill for what we are having here. And what I'm actually going to do is, if collision is found, object stays here, so it's going to say colliding ground, set to true, and that's it. So colliding ground true, and ideally I need to replace it with, you know, some temporary object that does not have any step event in it, because I don't really care if you know, yeah, do I want to care about the physics? I probably just you know, should I care about the level changed and it was stick on the wall and now it needs to go down? Probably not. I think what I'm gonna do now is I just gonna set it lifetime, so in 10 or 20 seconds it just fades away and eventually disappears. So even if there are many pieces in the level that all have a step event running, like doing some performance hit, it will be constant. So I don't think you can continuously increase the amount of corpses over, let's say, 10 seconds period. Probably be 100 pieces, 200, 300, but never higher than that. And if that will not help, I will then replace this object with something random. But for now, I can just set them lifetime, and by doing an alarm, set lifetime function. I don't really need that. I mean, come on. I'm not even sure that this will work as I expected. So 600 frames, exactly 10 seconds. And do I want them to disappear like all in once? Probably not. So it's worth doing a random range from 600 to 700. And then they will start enough to disappear. They disappear slowly. And do I want to... Ideally, that would be nice to have some, cool animation that it's either rottens away or it's, something from the ground just catches it and goes down. But considering it can stick to the wall, to the ceiling, to anything else really, it will be difficult to implement. Either I need to do a lot of animation or just normal fade effect or whatever. But okay, first let me see if that actually works. There is a high chance that it will detect collision already under the layer, so the objects will be invisible. Yes, definitely. Well, I mean, first of all, yes, they go through the floor, but it could be because what I just described, that they are, falling through it, because I don't go back to the step where they weren't below the floor. Okay, yeah, so it found a collision. It definitely sticks, but okay, let's do it this way. We're gonna check like it already felt below, and if it found it, no wait. So else we're gonna set that like this, right? So you got the idea. We check like it's the next step on the z-axis, and if it's colliding there, I don't record this coordinate, I just keep it there the step before. That should work. So I'm not getting into this else. Why? Am I getting here at all? I suppose to. Excuse me. So we are not colliding the ground, right? And structure is not changed, but it doesn't matter. We can ignore this condition. It's because it's or condition. So we're not colliding ground. We're getting collision. So we got the collision. So if collision, I just gonna debug it, right? Don't care. I'm not gonna do this mental exercise. It's already almost 11 p.m. here. Okay, so we got the collision, and collision is 0, right? So collision is not undefined true. Why is it or condition? Wait, I'm quite bad with this logic. I don't know why. But so we're saying if collision not empty, if there is something here, right? Because if it's empty, we don't care, right? If it's not empty and it's not 0, only then we go there. How did it work before? Did it actually work before, or since we never properly checked, it was... One question to where I got this code from. Okay, the bazooka rocket. Okay, obviously converted it to this function the wrong way, and let me just, yeah, like this. So if it's nothingness, which it shouldn't be, right? It's when it goes out of the world edge, or not equals to 0, then we are colliding. So now it should work perfectly. Okay, forgot one thing. Speed equals 0 because they are like keep sliding. Yeah, because no, wait. Because if I wouldn't change this with set speed, the shadows would keep flowing when the object itself stay on the ground. Okay. Well, I think it's funnier now, but you see that, you know, the heads, they're always in the same position. So I can do two things. First thing is I can give them a random spin, so over time they will keep rotating, right, to some degree. And or I can just when I create them, I give them some angle and they just go away with this angle. I think it will be funnier to try to rotate them, since we already use step event. It's nothing wrong to try it. I mean, nothing difficult to try it. Rotation speed, and I'm gonna set it like this, and now it's all right. So on our zombie, where I create this rotation speed, again, it's going to be range from 1 to 5, from 0 to 5. And why integer random? Just random range. Okay. So now here we can say that self set image angle image angle plus this rotational speed. Okay, so they are all gonna rotate, and I actually don't want them to rotate the same direction. Why do I? Right, so -5 to 5. I'll probably I'm afraid that some of them, they will just look ugly. Just don't forget to and I can't do it this way either. You see, you probably saw that the sprite of the shadow is incorrect, so I'm gonna zombie pieces. I think the next one is 0, and image speed is default to 1. Okay, so the rotation speed is -5 to 5, and here I also want to okay, I don't need this. I don't need any of this anymore. Don't need this. That's the lifetime. Okay, right. I see. So first of all, I'm gonna the image index, it's not gonna be 0, it's gonna be I. The second, I'm gonna get it random height from zero to 6. So they're like stacking a little bit higher and lower, and will look more natural. Let me see how it looks now. Okay, I think it looks better. It looks alright. If they start disappearing, did I actually set a script for them to? Oh, I think I didn't set the destruction script yet. But I like it. To be, that is funnier, though. Yeah, you see what happened in here. It's a little bit of Z clashing, because they are having exactly the same Z. So I'll probably need to. I'm not sure if that will work. So I just do random range, and it's gonna give it some float point. And oh no, it will not work, right? Because in Game Maker, the depth cannot be non-integer value. It has to be Game Maker depth float value. I can't, so I'm gonna give it I'm gonna set it like I, which might look not okay. Yeah, see, corpses are quite high. Let me see if there's still a clash in there. Yeah, there is, because still the objects, they are, you know, on the very same Z coordinate. Okay, I consider that as minor, because first of all, they're gonna disappear. The second, because changing this would be way above the goal of this stream. I forgot completely the word goal. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna make a lifetime in alarm alone. I'm gonna say instance destroy self, right? And that's it. I probably should have done something like nice fadeaway animation. Okay, I'm going to do it. States. I have state system. It's difficult to explain how I did it exactly, but for now, just consider I have it. As is, so states fading away. That's a function. I'm gonna keep it empty. So here I'm gonna set self set state fading away. In our process function, I'm gonna say if state equals image blend. Is there image alpha? Yeah, there's image alpha minus equal 0.1 or actually 0.2, and I'm gonna say if image alpha equals 0, image no instance destroy, and that's it. Okay, so at this point, instead of destroying itself, it's going to go into this state, which will set this variable to this. So the process function, this will going to be set, but this is going to be in a fading away state, and it will start just disappearing. At the end, it will just, will not keep existing. But that's going to be in 10 seconds. Okay, that's actually not bad. I thought it's going to be way worse. So let me put some corpses here and there. I should have, get some more variants of the. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's actually not too bad. I surprised. Okay, one more funny thing. So what if I make a wall here somewhere? Like a building, right? I'm gonna make it like so, and I'm gonna get a wall. So if I explode it, I want to see how it looks when it stacks to the wall. Does it stick to the wall actually? Will it stick to the wall? Yeah, it does. But to be honest, it's not necessarily a bad thing. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's I like it. I kind of like it. I could have get very detailed on how it sticks and its glide on a wall and stuff like that, but that first of all takes effort which exceeds the effect, like what is it called, fold sum, or what is it in English, like many times. So I'm gonna spend another day just to implement that system properly, which will not work, and I'm gonna iterate, try and again, just to get effect that people will forget immediately. That is already good enough for the purpose. If I ever want to reiterate on that, I will. But let me summarize what we've done, and we can consider this stream as completed. So we achieved the goal, and yeah. So basically, that's pretty much almost everything that we've written so far for how many hours? Like I started streaming now 100 minutes ago, plus 60 minutes. So more than 2.5 hours to make it look like this. Of course, we introduced some more global things like this parent objects that are going to be inherited, and we're going to use this system many times, and implementing it for the next enemy will be way easier. Plus we experimented a lot, let's try this, let's try that, so that's why it took more time. But the end result is quite good for me, in my opinion. And you have everything to get this in your game if you're making your game, or if you can just want to try killing zombies and see see it in real life yourself. Just download the demo, again, link in the description. And I think this is it for the stream. If you watched it and watched to this point, I don't know who you are, but thank you very much, and I hope you will enjoy